Okay, so now we're going to talk about dealing with difficult students at any level. We're going to make this really, really, really easy, and we're going to make this really, really clear, okay? If a student doesn't like the way you teach, they can take someone else's class. Period. The Lazy Monkey yoga style class, at least the first class, you know, where you're sitting down and seated and we're kind of like moving our head and our shoulders and our body, and we're breathing and we're feeling and we're getting into contact. We're feeling our prana, our chi, our ashe, whatever it is that you want to call that, flow of energy. That isn't advanced. That class in of itself, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced students, is very advanced. And in one way, it's simple, and in other ways, it is not. It's weird. It's like it's simple to achieve because it's the movement quality isn't rocket science, but it is highly advanced because if you're doing it correctly, you are generating that internal heat. You're generating that internal body heat. And you are sensing and feeling energy because it's all about energy. It's all about energy and it's all about movement. So it's not just about striking a pose or being able to touch your toe to your head. If somebody wants those kinds of classes, then they can go somewhere else. And there's nothing wrong with saying to someone, if someone comes up to you, here you go. Oh, wait, let's go through this one. If somebody raises their hand and says, I have a question, and you say, what's your question? And somebody says, well, I was taught by Mary Jane that you were supposed to do it like, you were supposed to do sun salutation like this. Why are we not doing it like this? And you can say, because this isn't Mary Jane's class. And because that's not the style that we're doing today. So I don't care what Mary Jane taught you, you're going to do the sequencing the way I teach it, because that's the way this style moves. And if you don't like the style, then go back to Mary Jane's class and don't come back to this class. And if the person gets offended, because everybody's so fucking offended these days over everything. If the person gets offended because you say, I don't care what other instructors do, this is how I teach, and when you're in my class, do it my way. When you go to somebody else's classes, do it their way. We're adults. So the Lazy Monkey yoga classes are designed to flow in a particular way. The techniques are performed specifically because reasons. My reasons, Philip Deal's reasons, the founder's reasons. I have very specific reasons why I chose to include or exclude certain yoga asanas. There are reasons why I chose to sequence the classes the way that I've chosen to sequence them. That's my style. And as a Lazy Monkey yoga instructor, if you're going to call your class Lazy Monkey, and I hope you do, then when someone raises an issue or concern about the way you're teaching something, then you're going to say, this is the style that I teach. This is a style of yoga. This is a very particular kind of class. It's taught a particular kind of way, and I teach it the way my teacher taught me, which is Philip Deal, the creator. And if you have a problem with the way the class is structured, you can email him through his website. Send them to me. Send those motherfuckers over here to me. I will completely explain to them if they want to be really technical about it, I can explain to them in a very highly technical, intelligent, and scientific way why I chose to do things the way I chose to do them. But you don't have to deal with any bullshit from any student, ever, period. You don't need to worry about somebody coming in trying to question you. I don't understand why you do it like this. Why you do it like that? That person does not need to be in your class because they're just a Debbie Downer. They're degrading you as an instructor. They're degrading my style of yoga. And they're also creating problems for the other students because now the other students are kind of like, what the fuck? Okay? So if you have a student that comes into your class and is problematic in any kind of way, they can't shut up, they talk too much in class, or they come in and they're disparaging towards you as an instructor, or they're snotty, or they have problems with the style, or they have problems with the sequencing, or they feel the need to like give you their opinion about how the class should be ran or taught, or the technique should be done in any kind of way, they don't need to take your class, and you need to tell them that immediately. Because I do. I'm giving you 100% permission to do exactly what I do. If somebody said to me in my class, I don't understand why you don't do warrior ones. I said, I don't teach warrior ones. I don't believe that warrior ones are good for the back. I don't teach them. Well, so-and-so said, I don't care what so-and-so said. Go take so-and-so's class. Don't take this class if you don't like it. If you don't like the way I teach, you never have to take this class again. So just finish the class, and when you leave, you don't have to come back. And, you know, people might think that I'm a hard ass. I am a hard ass. People might think that's a really nasty, hard ass attitude to have towards students. No. Students, real students, will be in your class to learn, and they will take the material you give them, and they will work with it. They won't criticize it. They won't get all bent out of shape about it. And so not everyone is meant to take the lazy monkey yoga style. There's a reason why you are attracted to me. And there's a reason why you're taking this course, because you like what you see and you like the way the yoga style makes you feel. So we are always going to attract to ourselves people that are like ourselves. People that are interested in our kind of practice will come along, and they'll love this practice, and they'll continue to do it. And when you get students that like the practice and they like you as an instructor, they will be loyal. They will always be in your class. You will have loyal students. They will follow you any studio you teach at, any YMCA you go to. They will always follow you because they like the style and they like the way you teach. They will resonate with it. It will be giving them some kind of feeling, and they'll be getting something out of it, and they'll continue to practice it. And anybody else who's got a problem with you or a problem with the style, they don't need to be in your class. So you can tell them, and here's the thing. If you see that someone has this kind of behavioral attitude, even if it's nonverbal, okay, you can approach that person after class when people are getting ready to leave, and you can say, I need to talk to you real quick. I just have a question for you, but I want to wait till people are gone so that I can do this privately. And if they stick around, you can say, I see that when you're in class, you're agitated, or like you act like there's something that you need to say, or you've got a scowl on your face. Do you just have like a resting bitch face, or is there something that you don't like about the way I teach or the class? Please tell me, because if you have a problem with me or a problem with the class, I'd like to know. Then find out what they say. They say, oh, no, it's not you, it's me. I'm trying to process through stuff. And you say, oh, okay. I just need to make sure that when you come to my class, you feel like you're getting the nurturing that you need, and you feel like you're getting what you need in order to do the class. And I want you to be satisfied when you leave. I don't want you to be unsatisfied. If they come back with anything else, like, I take the class, but I don't like it because you do this or that, then you can say, with all due respect, if you don't like the way I teach, just don't take my classes anymore. Because, when you come in with a foul attitude towards me or towards what I'm teaching, it fucks up the energy in my class, and it's obviously it's not for you. Obviously the style is not for you, and that's okay, because this style isn't for everyone. And I think you should find another instructor. And that's it. I think that's just the point. If you come into contact with a student, who is problematic, it's best just to tell them not to return. It's best to tell them to find another class. For people who are unruly and people that you can't control, because you'll see people who will come into class, and sometimes this will happen. People will come into class and then they'll just think that they can start doing whatever they want. I've had that. I've had people who are advanced students come into like an intermediate class because they signed up for an intermediate class, and in their intermediate class, they start going into all of these wild tricks. And I've walked over and I've said, I'm sorry, you need to do what I'm telling you to do, because this is my class. This is not your class. I didn't tell you to go into variations of my class. I need you to do my class. This is the practice, not your practice. This is not open gym. This is not open yoga. So I need you to like get back on track with me, because you're distracting all of the other students with what you're doing. You know, there are some yoga instructors that they'll let people do whatever they want. They'll let people just behave and act like however they want in their classes, and that's just not how we do it here. It's a structured discipline, and you have to stand up for yourself and not be weak. Don't be weak. Don't let anyone intimidate you about what you teach. Don't let anybody intimidate you, okay? Keep everybody on point. So if somebody starts going all wacko, out of control, you do have the right to ask them to leave. You're like, I need you to leave because you are absolutely disrupting my class. Here's the other thing. There are people who are attracted to taking yoga and getting Reiki and all kinds of other spiritual things because they're emotionally wounded and they need attention. There are people in this world that will show up at a yoga class because they want to have a meltdown, or they want to cry, or they want to have some kind of emotional support. They're looking for an emotional support group. They're not looking for a yoga class that teaches them to meditate or to help their body. Those people also don't belong in your class. I was in a yoga class with about 20 women. And in the middle of the class, one of the women started crying. She just started crying. She had some kind of emotional, physical release, and she started crying. Well, the motherfucking yoga instructor that was teaching the class stopped everything and went over to emotionally coddle this person. The class stopped. This teacher stopped teaching, and everybody in the class suddenly had to be the support group, and everybody was over there consoling this person. Absolutely not. That is not going to happen in your fucking lazy monkey yoga class. If you see someone struggling emotionally in your class, let's say you see someone start to tear up or start to cry while they're transitioning through the class, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. Put everybody face down or have them go into a forward fold where they are shielded from the person who is having a meltdown, and go over to the person who's having a meltdown and take a tissue and say, I see that you're upset right now. I need you to go to the bathroom and I need you to get yourself together. And then when you are composed, then come back and rejoin the class. But anyone who starts having some kind of emotional meltdown in the middle of your class, that's on them, and they need to take that emotional meltdown and they need to go somewhere else with that, because you are not a support group. Yoga classes are not an emotional support group. They're classes that teach physical exercise or meditation techniques, and people practice them and then they leave. Nothing more, nothing less. So I need you to be very, very, very careful about that, okay? Allowing emotionally disturbed and emotionally needy people who are looking for attention to come to your class and completely disrupt your classes because they think that they can. They have zero boundaries. Those people have zero boundaries at all. And you need to enforce healthy boundaries between yourself and your students. Now, that being said, do not be friends with the studio owners that you work for. Don't go out to drink with them. Don't go to the bar with them. Don't talk about your personal life with them. Do not become chummy with the people that hire you to be a yoga instructor. If you get hired by a yoga studio, you walk into that yoga studio 15 minutes before your class begins. You set up your music. You make sure all of the yoga mats are set out properly and everybody's ready to take the class. You teach the class, and when it's done, you leave. Do not get into a social circle in the places that you work. It's just a bad idea, and it's always going to end bad for you if you decide to do that. Don't become emotionally involved with any of your students. I've done that before. I've made all the mistakes. I've made all the mistakes for you. So when I'm telling you don't do something, it's because I did it and I found out and I fucked around and found out. And now I'm telling you that you need to listen to me. Do not get involved sexually or emotionally or any kind of chummy chum friend relationship with any of your students. Okay? If you decide to stop working for that studio and you like those people, then yeah, you can be with their friends when you're not working for them. Or if the person that comes to your class, if you have a thing for them or you guys are interested in each other or you can tell, then you can tell them, look, you can't be my student. You can't take my class if you want to have a relationship with me outside of the studio. There has to be a very clear, delineated difference between you and the person that you're dating or you're having sex with or whatever. That stuff absolutely cannot follow you into the yoga studio. That is a bad idea. Matter of fact, it's the worst idea. Because the fallout from situations like that, being put in an inappropriate situation where the boundaries between you as an employee or an employer or a student or a teacher, when those boundaries become blurred and things start going down, it is very bad for you. And it ruins you, and it ruins the practice, and and everybody else, everyone in the studio will know. Studios, yoga studios and dance studios and places like that, everybody knows everybody else's business because everybody's always up in everyone else's business. And people will know that, something is up, and it'll really, really taint your image as an instructor or a teacher. If you go down that route, it's not a good one to go down. So those are my opinions about dealing with difficult students and also maintaining healthy boundaries between you and the people you work with and the people you teach. You're a teacher, you're an instructor. You're there for one purpose and one purpose only, to guide them through a safe and effective lazy monkey yoga class, and when the class is over, you leave. Doesn't mean that you're not friendly, doesn't mean you don't chit-chat, doesn't mean you don't talk about what you ate that morning or like that you're gonna go to the beach in the afternoon and enjoy yourself, but it means that you're not gonna allow yourself to become emotionally involved in any kind of way, or you're not gonna talk about your personal life in any kind of way, ever, with your class. I went into a yoga class one time. I've been into so many nightmare yoga classes, I can't even tell you. I went into a nightmare yoga class one time where I was trying to take yoga and I was trying to do the yoga practice. And then the entire time and the final part of the class, when we were stretching and stuff, the yoga instructor that was on the mat teaching started talking about their personal problems. And then the last part of class became them talking about all their personal problems. Like their marriage, like how they're getting their divorce and stuff like that. That is so tacky. Not only is it tacky, it's just bad juju. You just don't want it. You just don't want that kind of stuff. So please, always present yourself professionally if you're showing up to teach a lazy monkey yoga class. If you don't like my rules about how I feel like you should or should not behave when you're representing me and my brand, then don't call your classes lazy monkey yoga, call them something else. And don't tell anybody that I taught you. Because if you're gonna go out on the street and you're gonna act like a shit show instructor, I don't want anybody to know that I taught you, because that will reflect on me as your teacher, and it will reflect on all of the people that you trained with, and it'll reflect on this brand. And I can't have that. I need you guys to know that you have to be professionals, always, at all times. Maintain your professional behavior and attitude, and keep it very, 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 to the point. And if you do that, you will not have problems. And I'm trying to prevent you from having problems in any and all circumstances. And don't have an opinion about anything that's going on in the yoga studio. If you find out that the studio owner that owns your studio has been screwing around with their students, and people are upset about it, it would be best for you to say, you know what, I don't need to teach here anymore. This is a toxic environment. Recognize toxicity in your environment, and if you feel toxic or you feel like it's gonna create problems for you as an instructor, walk away, leave. Do not get wrapped up in other people's drama. Do not get pulled into other people's drama. It is not worth it. All right? We'll talk about this more over Zoom.